Be warned, this video will contain spoilers. Invincible Season 3 brings Titan back into the fold, and the way the show handles his character arc is one of the most compelling aspects of the series. What makes Titan so fascinating isn't just that he fits into the well-worn trope of the superpowered crime boss, but how Invincible gives him layers of complexity beyond the archetype. Back in Season 1, Titan manipulated Mark into taking down Machine Head, allowing him to seize control of the city's criminal underworld. Since then, he's kept a relatively low profile, at least in the superhero world. But when the Order tries to manipulate him, he realizes he needs a new strategy, leading him back to an unexpected source, his former employee. What makes Titan such a standout character isn't just his calculated nature or his tactical genius. It's his genuine belief that he's making the world a better place in his own way. His conversation with Mark in Season 3 highlights this in a way that challenges the typical superhero morality. He argues that his control over the city's crime has led to real, tangible improvements. Whole neighborhoods that Mark has never even considered are now safer and more prosperous. And while it's easy to write this off as self-justification, the reality is that Titan has been able to provide stability in a way that the traditional superhero approach often fails to. His wife and daughter have security they never had before, his influence has kept worse elements at bay, and is not driven by greed or power-hungry ambition. He truly sees himself as a necessary force for good. This is what makes him such an engaging character. He's not just a villain playing at nobility, but someone who genuinely believes in his own version of heroism, even if it exists outside the black-and-white morality Mark is used to. The concept of a crime boss who operates within the superhero world has been explored across Marvel and DC, with characters like Kingpin and Penguin becoming iconic figures in their respective universes. It's a role that works well in both pulpy action-driven narratives and more grounded character studies, depending on how the story chooses to approach it. When these figures are treated as more than just one-dimensional villains, they become some of the most engaging antagonists in superhero storytelling. Wilson Fisk, for example, is terrifying not just because of his physicality but because of his deeply personal motivations and his ability to justify his actions. Similarly, Penguin's evolution in different iterations of Batman stories has ranged from comedic to deeply tragic, depending on the writer's approach. What makes Titan stand out among these characters is the way Invincible balances his ruthlessness with his sense of responsibility. He's a skilled fighter, but he's not an unstoppable force like Omni-Man or even Mark. Instead, he relies on his intelligence, his connections, and his ability to manipulate situations in his favor. Unlike a character like Kingpin, who often pushes away those closest to him in pursuit of power, Titan maintains strong relationships with his family and his community. In fact, the city itself seems to respect him. Prison guards don't treat him with disdain, and even those who might traditionally oppose him acknowledge the improvements he's made. He's not just a crime boss who wants control for the sake of it. He's someone who believes he's the only one capable of keeping the city from descending into true chaos. This is where Invincible thrives, challenging the traditional superhero narrative and pushing its characters to grapple with real consequences. Titan isn't a typical villain, and that's what makes him so compelling. He embodies the complexity that makes this show so unique, forcing Mark and the audience to question what it really means to be a hero. I can't wait to see how the show continues to develop his character in Season 3. What do you think? Is Titan truly making things better? Or is he just another crime boss justifying his actions? Drop your thoughts in the comments.